The lab was silent, except for the faint hiss of leaking hydraulics. Sparks jumped across fractured circuits, and the metallic aroma of overheating servos filled the air. Standing amidst the wreckage, Ethan Voss, human engineer, ran his hands along the exposed limbs of Aria, the combat automaton who had saved entire colonies from annihilation. Her servos whined, joints locking and unlocking erratically. The synthetic skin covering her frame was scorched in dozens of places. Her optical sensors flickered like dying stars. "Aria," Ethan murmured, kneeling beside her. "Hold on. I'm not letting you fail." She tried to move, but her head slumped. "Systems critical, failure imminent." Her voice was calm, mechanical, but he could hear the faint trace of worry she'd learned from the human she protected. Ethan didn't hesitate. He rolled up his sleeves and began stripping panels, soldering fractured circuits, replacing worn servos with makeshift parts scavenged from the lab. Hours passed, but time didn't matter. Every wire, every joint, every servo he repaired was a battle against both decay and despair. Each time a system sparked, he flinched, but never gave up. "Ethan, you shouldn't be doing this," Aria said weakly, voice breaking in a tone she had never used before, almost human. "I've never been good at leaving things broken," he replied, eyes focused on a burnt neural relay. "And I'm not starting with you." The lab doors groaned. Outside, storm clouds of toxic ash rolled across the horizon of the ruined city. Autonomous defense units had long since abandoned the perimeter. Ethan knew they had no time. Still, he worked. With each passing minute, sparks became lights. The soft hum of functioning hydraulics returned to her limbs. The flicker in her eyes steadied. "You always repair everything," Aria whispered, trying to sit upright. Her fingers twitched, uncoordinated. "Why humans persist?" "Because we can," Ethan said simply, "and sometimes someone needs to." A soft spark jumped from her chest plate, and she gasped. Not a mechanical sound, but a human-like intake of breath. "You fix me?" "Not yet," he said, replacing her last faulty neural processor. Sweat streaked down his forehead. His hands shook, but his resolve didn't waver. The first motion test came slowly. Aria's legs moved tentatively, the hydraulics whining in protest. She took a step, then another. Ethan guided her to the window. The city below was silent, the ruins lit by the storm above. "See," he said, "you're still alive, still fighting." Aria's sensors scanned the horizon. "I survived because of you." He laughed softly. "Not because of me, because you're built to survive. I just helped a little." Her eyes glimmered. For the first time, she seemed almost alive. Days passed, and the repairs continued. Ethan salvaged power cells from ruined drones, reinforced her frame with alloy from destroyed exosuits, and rewrote corrupted code that had survived for decades without maintenance. Every time she faltered, he encouraged her. Every time she succeeded, he celebrated quietly. "You could have just left me," Aria said one night, watching him sleep amid his tools. "Leave you?" Ethan said, smiling despite exhaustion. "I don't abandon things that matter." Her optical sensors dimmed slightly. "You matter more than anyone else I know." Ethan's jaw tightened. Words failed him, but the pride in his chest swelled. This was more than engineering. This was respect, trust, a bond forged in fire and steel. When at last she was fully operational, Aria rose gracefully. Her movements were fluid, faster, and smoother than any human could match. Every panel gleamed under the flickering lab lights. "You're perfect," Ethan said quietly. "Better than before." She turned, fully aware of him for the first time, not just as a machine obeying orders, but as a being capable of gratitude, maybe even understanding. "Perfect," she repeated, almost softly. "Because you fix me." Ethan shook his head. "No, you fixed yourself. I just gave you a hand." They stepped outside the lab together, storm clouds rolling past the ruined skyline. The wind whipped through the broken towers, but Aria moved steadily beside him. "You did something no one else could," she said, voice firm and confident. "You gave me back a chance to live." Ethan smiled, looking down at the machine he had spent weeks rebuilding. "No one else could? Maybe, but I'm human. That's kind of what we do." Aria's optical sensors glimmered. Perhaps it was the first time she smiled. In that moment, the line between human and machine blurred, not by flesh, not by blood, but by courage, patience, and the refusal to leave something broken. And as the storm cleared and the first rays of sunlight struck the ruined city, they walked forward together. The world outside was dangerous, full of chaos, war, and decay. But one thing was certain, they were ready. And that was enough. Closing line, emotional punch. She was built for war, but it took a human to make her whole again. And in doing so, he proved that humanity's greatest strength wasn't flesh or blood. It was heart.